Hello, welcome to Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. I am your host, Gary Howard. Thank you for joining me on one of the few episodes that I put out a month. I'm going to try to get better. It's just so busy, and my lease on my truck is coming up soon, so maybe I might do this full time. I don't know. I know I can hear y'all right now. Why? The ones that are listening, just keep driving the truck. But today is going to be, it just happened not too long ago. I'm going to do this case, and as for the truck stop, I'm not going to do too much of the truck stop. I mean, there's other truck stops that's nearby, but this was the closest that was nearby, so I want to do that. So we're just going to fly through the truck stop, and this was actually where I was remodeling Target. I worked for a floor company, and they were that remodeled Targets and Walmarts, and we were remodeling Target not too far from this, and I never realized how bad this area was. And when we get to the truck stop, we'll talk about it. But thank you for listening to me. But Circle K in Charlotte. This case happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. Currently, I'm in Rogers, Arkansas. So I'm nowhere near this place. I'm 950 miles away from it. Now, it's on Trucker's Path. It shows some spots. But if you look at it, there's no truck parking at all. You know, maybe the owner might let you park on the side and out of the way. But as for that, I mean, it only has 2 reviews on this. It is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Right now it says some spots, but yeah, there's no parking. This is paved lot, ATM. Not much there. If you want to know the address of it, 605 Clayton Road, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28217. It's off of I-77 exit 1 and I-44 or 45 exits, right on the loop in I-77. And if you're going south of there, going in South Carolina, I believe that's where that big, huge Six Flags Park is at, so you can ride some roller coasters. So if you're going through there and you're coming north through Charlotte to that park and you need to stop there to get gas or snacks or whatnot, this is what you got. Of course, you have the Circle K if you want to eat there while you're filling up the gas. Get coffee, chips, hamburger, well, not hamburgers. Well, you get hamburgers at the restaurant. Then you had Jags Head Coffee, which is Coaster Coffee, so there's no reviews on that. You have Iryna Nation Restaurant. It's a Caribbean seafood restaurant. Now, they have a 2.5-star review. It does 1,300. I guess Truckers Pass, they do feet, 1,381. Then you have Better, and More. It's a sandwich and burger place. They have a better review, 3.5 stars, where that was 2.5. And it's 1,386 feet. Then you have Clayton Road, Amico. That has no reviews, just a regular store. Now, this place does not have any reviews, so there's no drama queen truck drivers. I don't believe anybody goes there. Probably some of your locals go there for fuel, but they don't stick around. So but there is 2 questions. Well, there's one question that was answered, and the first question is it safe for overnight parking? No. No is the answer. Swing in, get your fuel, get your gas, get your snacks, whatever, and get the fuck out of there. Don't stick around. Now, another one says, is it open 24/7? Probably, but there's no answer to that. But yeah, probably not. I doubt they're probably open overnight. And you'll see pretty soon why it's not safe to be open overnight in Charlotte. I never really pictured Charlotte being a very bad town. Well, let's talk about this. And it just dumbfounds me that I just learned about this yesterday. Usually when stuff like this happens, this drastic, even the president, Donald Trump, actually spoke about this. But I just heard about it yesterday, and I'm not saying anything special about me, but I do social media, and usually Charlie Kirk, who just got shot dead. I don't know nothing about him, so I'm not going to say too much. I guess I've been living on the rock when it comes to politics and stuff. I just know that he was for the Second Amendment. He just got shot yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, I don't know, but it is all over social media. But this incident happened August 22nd, 2025. I had called my wife. I was like, oh my God, you can't believe this crazy psychopath just popped up out of nowhere like he was Jason on Friday the 13th and just started stabbing this girl. And this girl we're talking about is Iryna Zarutska. I'm sorry. Iryna Zarutska she was a 23-year-old Ukraine refugee and talented artist who was fatally stabbed on August 28, 2025 in Charlotte, North Carolina on a light train rail. She and her family had arrived in the U.S. in 2022, escaped of the war-torn Ukraine after graduating from Synergy College in Kyiv with a degree in art and restoration. Zarutska moved to keep in mind she's only 23 years old, which is the same age as my daughter. I think she's like 3 months younger than my daughter. It just makes this even horribly worse. I mean, it doesn't, but it just touches to me that this could have been my daughter. But yeah, she moved there. She was working in a pizzeria. Her life was tragically cut short in an unprovoked attack by a man with a history of violent crimes and mental illness. Yeah, this guy up to this point was arrested 14 times, and I'll go over some of the cases that I could find. Like I said, I just learned about this yesterday. I'm going to try to do my best to cover it. But yeah, Zarutska was born in Kyiv, Ukraine, and was a refugee who fled from the war with her family in 2022. She held a degree in art and restoration from Synergy and attended Rowan Cabarrus Community College. She was also a beloved employee of Zabidi's Pizzeria, which you'll see her shirt. She's wearing that shirt when this all happened. She was known for her radiant smile, a heart of gold, and a deep love of animals. She was also a gifted artist who loved sculpting and designing unique clothes. Keep in mind about art. We'll get back to what happened after all this was done. On August 26th, Zarutska was on a Lynx Blue Line rail train when she was fatally stabbed in an unprovoked attack by another passenger, which was happened to sit behind her. The suspect was a 34-year-old man with a criminal history that included robbery, breaking and entering, and larceny. He was fair jumping at the time of the killing. Authorities had previously received reports of him suffering from he has schizophrenia real bad. Her death sparked outrage and caused for leaders to make a change. Even Donald Trump spoke heavily on this. So who are we talking about? Who is this perpetrator? His name is DeCarlos Brown. DeCarlos Brown, will go over to his records. The deadly stabbing of Ukraine's refugee on Charlotte's light rail in August was put on spotlight on the criminal justice system in Mecklenburg County where it happened. The killing has become a national lightning rod of controversy over surveillance video of the stabbing was released on Friday, September 5th. U.S. President Donald Trump and numerous other administrations officials responded to the viral killing, blaming Charlotte officials for what happened. On the truth, social Trump used the stabbing to campaign for Michael Whatley. I'm not even going to go into that. Let's go. I'm reading this from on here. So these people compiled a timeline of it. So 2007, 2009, he had 3 misdemeanors. Brown was charged 3 times for misdemeanors between 2007 and 2009. These charges included simple assault, disorderly conduct, and resisting a public officer. According to court records, all these cases was dismissed. Details of an instance were not immediately available pending court system document. And then 2011 and 2013 charges led to supervised probation. Between 2011, Brown was charged again with several misdemeanors which he failed to show up to court. On September 11th, a criminal summons was issued for Brown for communicating threats, but he was also not arrested. Just let him be. 2 months later, in November 2011, Brown was cited for speeding 22 miles over the speed limit in Guilford County. An arrest order was issued a few months later in that case. Brown failed to appear in court, and court records indicate that Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office arrested him in the case in June of 2003. In April 2013, Brown was cited for shoplifting. So you see, and we're just at 2013. A few months later, August 13th, he was arrested on the older warrant for failing to show up to court in the case for communicating threats, as well as 2 new charges of injury of property. Brown was released on his own secured bond the same day. Now keep in mind, this is the same guy who does not like showing up to court. On November 11, 2013, Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer arrested Brown in a new case that led to new felony charges for larceny and break-in and entering. The rest included 3 outstanding warrants for 3 other misdemeanors, where he would ultimately plead guilty to shoplifting, while the threats and property injuries cases were dismissed. Court records show Brown was convicted of the felony breaking and entering on April 11, 2014. He was assigned to 30 days in jail and 24 months probation with the Montgomery County. On August 21st, 2014, Brown assaulted a Honduran man and stole a Samsung Galaxy and about $750 in U.S. and Hungarian currency using a handgun. According to court documents, all these items were reportedly later found in Brown's apartment. So no way to get all around that. Brown was arrested, charged with robbery and dangerous weapon possession of a firearm by felony. A judge set 2 security bonds totaling $110,000 in that case, and Brown was not released. So there you go, somebody doing something right. Brown was ultimately convicted and served over 5 years in state prison. On September 20th, 2022, he was released and placed on parole for 1 year. Okay, let's move to 2022 to 2024 arrests. But no, according to Mecklenburg County jail records, Charlotte and Mecklenburg police arrest Brown 3 times between 2022 and 2024. None of these arrests appeared to have led to charges, or the cases were dismissed in a way that no longer appear in court records. In September 22, Brown was arrested for assault on a female and property injury, but court records do not reflect the corresponding charges, so it sounds like nothing was happening. Jail and police records indicate arrests in April and May of 2024. Both reported dialing 911 without emergency. WBTT, again, would not locate the record, so they don't know. So, 2025 misdemeanor charge for a third 911 misuse, so he likes to call 911. In January 2025, I'm going to just say Charlotte, please keep saying Charlotte Mecklenburg on this website, arrested Brown for the 3rd time for misusing 911. The alleged misuse happened around 11:30 p.m. Officers on scene said in court filings that Brown believed he had been given a man-made material that controlled what he ate, walked, and talked. Here comes when the schizophrenia came out. Officers advised Brown that the issue was a medical issue and there was nothing further they could do. The affidavit said Brown became upset with the officers' answers, with officers still on scene, called 911 to speak to the police while the police are still there. Everyone standing outside the hospital, the Novit Health Presbyterian Medical Center on Hawthorne Lane, when this took place. Brown went to jail, and Magistrate Teresa Stokes released him 2 days later on a written promise to appear. The man who does not like going back to court, thinks that people are controlling his mind, what he eats, and everything like that. This is a common court decision when the charge involved a nonviolent misdemeanor. So maybe they should look at his past. On July 28th, 3.5 weeks before Brown would be accused of what we're going to be talking about, Judge Roy Wiggins signed a court order directing Brown to get a forensic evaluation. The request was in response to Brown's public defender filed a motion that questioned Brown's capacity to proceed with this case. So, and that brings us up to what happened on the 22nd of last month. I'm sorry, I do apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself. But let's first talk about some of these offenses. That was some of them that I saw. I went to different sources. Now, this is on Checkmate. Some of the things he was charged with. First, let's talk about, like I said, Brown. Carlos Brown, he was, let's see his criminal record. I'm going over this as we speak. They call it on March 11, 2009, he was arrested for misdemeanor assigned resisting public office. Let's just skip this. There is a Facebook page that we'll first go through. This is what I found in North Carolina. First one was on January 19th, or that's the one we're talking about now, so I'll get into that. And tell you, he's also a deadbeat father. The mother, there's many charges, case hearings where she was trying to get child support and everything from. Now, this one is this is the same one. I do apologize. Here you go, child support. Um, Latoya Mitchell, she filed on August 18, 2010, disputed and discontinued, so nothing came out of this for child support. And then on 2008, he had, let me see, these are simple assault. I think this is when he assaulted his sister. But here's a Facebook page that I found that has a lot of stuff about him. It has a breakdown. David L.C. Here's all of DeCarlo Brown Jr.'s crimes since 2013 in chronological order. He broke it down really good. Speeding, failure to appear in court twice, warrant for arrest and served in June 28, 2013, paid ticket on July 5th, 2013. Communicating threats and injury personal property, arrested twice, August 5th, 2013 and November 11th, 2013. Shoplifting, taken into custody August 12th, 2013 after failing to appear in court for a citation made of April that year, served 5 days. Breaking and entering larceny, arrested November 11, 2013, served 5 months, 1 year and 3 months, served 5 months, and then 1 year and 3 months in prison. Robbery and dangerous weapon, arrested August 21st, 2014, served 6 to 8 years in prison. Misuse of 911 system, this is when he really thought people was controlling his mind, arrested January 19, 2025, was let out of custody by Teresa Stokes for free instead of being held in prison between court sessions. This is because he promised her that he would show up in court. Sentence is still pending. So now we're going to get to the case. So you can see this guy was habitual, he was, before he started thinking people was taking over his mind, schizophrenia. He was not a good person. This is just one of the people. I don't know. It's some people just need to be in prison, and I think this guy is one of them. But we're just according to Wikipedia, the killing of Iryna Zarutska occurred August 22nd, 2025 at the East-West Boulevard Light Rail Station on the Lynx Blue Line in Charlotte, North Carolina, United States, of course. Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee who fled the country because of Russian invasions, who was fatally stabbed. Her assailant was arrested upon exiting train and charged with first-degree murder. Now there's videos on here. I'm going to play it on my social media page. The killing drew international coverage of Zarutska's status as a refugee seeking safety in the United States, prompted a public statement from Charlotte Mayor V. Lyles, and footage of the killing sparked outrage on social media, leading to a policy discussion about transit security fare enforcement and gaps in criminal justice and mental health issues. So the killing on August 22nd, 2025, Zarutska was on a light rail station in Charlotte's South End neighborhood. Surveillance footage shows Zarutska's boarding the train and sitting in front of the perpetrator. By the way, when you see this, he was not not in the right state of mind. So, but I think she was in her with her phone wrapped up in her whatever she was doing with her earbuds. So she was totally oblivious what was going on around here. The security personnel were not present in the car that day, though there were officers on board the train 1 car ahead. 4 minutes later, the perpetrator pulled a pocket knife out from his hoodie and stabbed her 3 times, including at least one in the neck. I know one was in the neck and one was in her knee, because she kind of balled up. After the attack, he said, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl." No, that's Wikipedia. I don't know if that's true. I can't hear nothing on it, so I don't think that's actually truth behind that. The suspect exited the train. First, he walked around first with his knife. He cut his hand while doing the stabbing, and was arrested by police on a platform for murder. Zarutska was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect was transported for treatment following the arrest and was charged with first-degree murder. The Charlotte Police Department has not, the motive, there's no motive to detect. The investigation remains ongoing, and the CMPDS Homicide Unit encourages the public to provide any relevant information. Now, this is when I'm going to get on my, ranting, because if you watch a video, now I don't know who's on the other side, how many people on the other side, but there was 5 people, not counting the perpetrator and victim, that was in that cart. While this was all going on, they did nothing. They did not intervene. They didn't. After the stabbing, he walked around. Now, there was a guy in a gray sweatshirt. When he was leaving, followed him. I thought he was going to do something, but then he just left. And afterwards, you'll have to see, nobody did nothing. Some other guy from another cart and a lady came from another cart and rendered aid. But by that time, I believe it was too late. Now, if these people could intervene, and maybe they could have stopped, I'm no doctor, I don't know, but if there was a lot of blood. So by the time she did have assistance rendered to her, she had lost a lot of blood. The floor was right by the door was just a lot of blood. But yeah, the fatal stabbing raised concerns about the safety of Charlotte's Lynx Blue Line. Councilman Edwin Peacock stressed fragile public trust and urged Charlotte area transit system and CMPD to review security. Katz confirmed the train operator followed protocol, holding the train until police arrived. On September 5th, 2025, Katz released surveillance video of the stabbing, so I guess that's one of the reasons why we don't hear about it now. On September 6, 2025, local Charlotte TV channel WBTV called that the authorities saying that the suspect did not have a ticket to ride the train. He was subsequently charged with first-degree murder under stabbing Zarutska to death. Following the killing, local officials and the district attorney publicly discussed gaps in Mecklenburg County mental health and justice system, using the case as example in debates over how courts handle defendants with serious mental issues. The Charlotte area transit system said it would seek to increase fare inspections, install new ticket validators, and expand security staff on trains and platforms. Mayor Lyles called the killing senseless and tragic, and urged respect for the victim's family as the investigation continues. Multiple Charlotte City Council officials and candidates in the 2025 Charlotte mayoral education called the greater action to ensure safety on public transit. A member of the Charlotte City Council said the crime clearly our current safety policies are not enough, and expressed his concern that fear of the crime in transportation systems might affect upcoming, what's that word? Referendum, R-E-F-E-R, referendum to expand the city's, I'm sorry, I'm not a good reader, as you could tell. But yeah, the killing generated national attention to the United States, particularly the right. I'm not even going to get it. It goes on, the Wikipedia. The judge ordered the suspect to be evaluated 6 days in the hospital. But on August 31st, 2025, a candlelit vigil in Charlotte honored Zarutska and other recent victims of transit-related violence. North Carolina officials also announced a candlelit vigil to mark the 30th day after her death, scheduled on September 22nd near that location. Now, because of all this, because of her love of art, a lot of people are donating a lot of money to have murals put up of her around the United States. Elon Musk being one of these, who donated $1 million to different artists to do murals of her on side of the building. But here's the thing that I didn't know. Because it was on a public transit system, it has become a federal offense because of that. And Trump apparently is looking for the death penalty for this guy. So let's read from the court transcript. Based on my training, and let's see, get to that. I do apologize. I think that is it. But anyhow, it became a federal offense based because of where it happened. And according to the documents, it said, based on my training experience, I know that the Charlotte area transit system is the largest transit system between Atlanta and Washington, D.C., with multiple local express and regional bus stops, as well as a light rail service called the Lynx Blue Line. The Lynx Blue Line has 26 stations spanning approximately 19 miles, with a northern terminal at UNC Charlotte and a southern terminal at Interstate 485 south, about where she was at. CATS provide regular mass transportation services to the public, including Charlotte Douglas International Airport, Amtrak Charlotte train station, and crossed the state lines into Rock Hill, South Carolina, among other destinations. The defendant, DeCarlos Dijon Brown Jr., is a 34-year-old man who has resided in recent years. So we already know that. Well, I'm not going to read too much about this. And basically, now this is a federal law case because it did happen on a transit unit, so it's not too good for Mr. Brown. So sorry about that. Like I said, this is one of the cases I just learned about yesterday, and I'm going over these different court documents and Wikipedia and everything, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too bad. But I'll post a video on my social media, the Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast, on Facebook, if you want to check that out. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry about it. At the end, it started getting a little rough. But then a lot of the documents I was reading was just being repetitive, all the stuff that I already said, so that's why I kind of cut out. In short, this poor woman, Zarutska left Ukraine with her mother and brother to get away from that thing, just to come here and get murdered on a train, which he claimed to have schizophrenia, which he might have. I don't know. I'm no doctor. But he took her life. A lot of people stuck around and watched, and now it's a felony offense. Federal. Not it's all felony, but a federal offense. And if you look it up, Trump wants to have him murdered. But there you go. There's the murder of Iryna Zarutska. If you like that, please rate and review anywhere you listen to this podcast. Join my Facebook group at Truck.Murder True Crime Podcast. Now, listen to me on YouTube, you can check that out. I always get so tongue-tied at the end because I really don't know what to say. This is why I need a co-host. But follow me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. Email me at trucks.murder@gmail.com. And like I always say, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I'm out of here.
Huh?